11 Investigates exclusive. Rage against the refs.
Oh!
The videos are shocking and appalling.
He punched me.
Right in the face.
Right in the jaw.
Coaches and fans going after officials. And it's happening right here in our area.
By a show of hands, how many of you guys have ever been verbally assaulted?
And Chief Investigator Rick Earl, who umpires in his spare time, spoke with a local ref who was recently attacked. So, Rick, have you ever experienced anything like this?
Yeah, Gordon, I've had fans and coaches occasionally yell at me, but I've never been threatened or assaulted. And tonight we are hearing firsthand from 8 sports officials, including one who was assaulted at a youth basketball game just a couple months ago. From Ohio to Louisiana to Pittsburgh. Sports officials under attack.
I turned back around, he got out of the stands and he punched me.
He punched you.
Punched me.
Right in the face.
Right in the jaw.
Marty Coyne punched in the face while reffing a 4th grade basketball game at Shaler Elementary School in March. Coyne, a longtime sports official, says a fan began harassing him over a call.
He goes, hey, I told you, you gotta call that. So I heard that one. So I blew the whistle and went like this and I called timeout and I said, you can't talk to me like that. I said, you got to go, this game's over. He said, no, with profanity. He said, I'm not leaving. I said, you're leaving and this game's over. So I turned around and told the coaches, I went like this. I said, if he don't leave, this game's over. I turned back around, he got out of the stands and he punched me.
The suspect took off before Shaler police arrived. Coyne finished the game, but started feeling dizzy.
Well, when I was going down 28, I couldn't see the bridge on the left-hand side, 40th Street Bridge. So I went right to Mercy Hospital. And they treated me for about 4 to 6 hours. I had a concussion.
Police have now charged a juvenile, a 17-year-old Shaler student, in the assault. By a show of hands, how many people have been verbally harassed or threatened? So everybody here has been. 11 Investigates spoke with Coyne and 7 other veteran officials with more than 200 years combined experience working youth, high school, and college games. They've seen and heard it all.
You can't call that, you can't see that, you can't make that call.
And he goes, these were the worst officials I've ever seen in my life. He said, I don't know where they came from.
He said, I didn't know my mother had so many names.
And the behavior of parents, coaches, and even players, they say, has gotten worse since the explosion of travel and AAU teams, where parents spend a lot of money and expectations are high.
It's hard for them, I think, to accept when their kid or their child happens to fail. If they strike out or they're not getting close calls when they're pitching. So it's kind of a build-up too, I think, because they know what's involved. They're being promised huge scholarships to Division I schools, which doesn't always happen. That's just another pressure, I think, that's on the parents that often, shows up at the end of games.
I think they are. They're gonna send all the Uniontown fans out.
Emotions boiled over at a high school basketball game between Uniontown and Meadville in March when a fight broke out in the stands. 7 fans, including teenagers, were charged with disorderly conduct.
You got to enforce these things. You have to set an example after a point too, that people got to realize, if I do this, what's going to happen?
Since the early 90s, assaulting a sports official in Pennsylvania has been a first-degree misdemeanor.
There's a lot of times where the officials have to have a police escort back to their cars.
State Representative Anita Kulik of Coriopolis, whose husband is a longtime high school football official, introduced legislation called Respect the Whistle. It would create a separate offense for harassment of a sports official.
We'd like to see sports officials elevated in the grand scheme of the crimes code because you cannot function without them.
And if behaviors don't change soon, these longtime officials are sounding the alarm.
You get a young kid, it wants to get into the field, and he says, I ain't gonna put up with what you guys are going to with.
As for Marty Coyne, who was punched in the face by a fan, he was back on the court a week later. Didn't think twice about it, huh?
No.
Why?
I enjoy it. It's a workout. You get to see little kids do something, and when the little kid goes and does a right layup or left hand layup with left hand, you look at that and say, man, that's great.
Now, guys, they don't make a lot of money, and at times they take a lot of grief, but the officials I spoke with tell me they are passionate about the games and love officiating it, despite some of that unruly behavior they have to put up with.
Yeah, some of that video was actually tough to watch because you saw they really are getting hit and punched and kind of shoved around.
Yeah, it is difficult to watch, but they keep coming back because they love the game. They love the kids, too.
Doing the best they can.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks.